83% of expensive car repairs start with something the owner ignored for just a few more months. I've been turning wrenches for over 2 decades, and I can tell you, most breakdowns aren't bad luck. They're the result of skipped maintenance that felt optional until the damage was permanent. What separates a car that dies at 90,000 miles from one that cruises past 300,000 isn't the brand or the year. It's 17 simple habits that take minutes but save thousands. And by the end of this, you'll know the one thing that kills more engines than anything else. Tip number 17, check battery terminals monthly. Most people never look at their battery until the car won't start. That's a mistake. Corrosion on battery terminals doesn't just weaken your charge, it creates resistance that forces your alternator to work harder, your starter to strain, and your entire electrical system to operate under stress. I've seen alternators burn out early because someone ignored white crusty buildup for 6 months. The fix is simple. Once a month, pop the hood and look at your terminals. If you see white or green powder, grab a wire brush and baking soda mixed with water. Scrub it clean, dry it off, and coat the terminals with petroleum jelly or terminal spray. Takes 5 minutes. Prevents a $400 alternator replacement and a tow bill. And while you're checking your battery, look at the battery itself. If it's more than 5 years old, have it tested. Batteries don't give you much warning before they die. One day it starts fine, the next day it's completely dead. Get it tested for free at any auto parts store. If it's weak, replace it before it leaves you stranded. Don't wait for a no-start situation to care about your battery, because when that happens, you're already behind. And if you think a weak battery is bad, wait until we talk about what worn wipers do to your windshield. Tip number 16, replace wipers twice a year. This sounds basic, but most people run their wipers until they're streaking so bad they can barely see through the windshield. By then, the damage is already done. Worn wiper blades don't just smear water around, they drag dirt and grit across your glass with every pass. That creates micro scratches. Over months, those scratches build up and fog your windshield permanently. You'll end up needing a $300 windshield replacement instead of a $20 wiper change. Replace your wipers every 6 months, or the moment you notice streaking. Spring and fall are easy to remember, and when you do, make sure you're getting quality blades, not the cheapest ones at the gas station. Those last about 3 weeks. Good wipers, like Bosch or Rain-X, actually seal against the glass and clear in one swipe. The rubber compound matters. Cheap blades harden in the sun and crack in the cold. Quality blades stay flexible and maintain contact with the glass even at highway speeds. And here's something most people don't know. Wiper blades can freeze to your windshield in winter. If you try to use them while they're frozen, you can tear the rubber or strip the wiper motor gears. Always clear ice off your windshield before running your wipers. Don't cheap out here because visibility isn't optional. But wipers aren't the only thing people cheap out on that costs them later. Tip number 15, tire rotation. Every 5,000 miles. If you're not rotating your tires, you're throwing money away. Most front-wheel drive cars wear the front tires 2 to 3 times faster than the rears. That means your fronts are bald, while your backs still look fine. So you end up replacing just the fronts, which creates uneven traction and handling problems. Then 6 months later, your rears are worn and you're buying another set. You just paid for 4 tires when you could have paid for 2 and rotated them properly. Rotation every 5,000 miles evens out the wear across all 4 tires. You get the full life out of every set, which can stretch a $600 tire purchase into an $800 one, because you're not replacing them twice as often. Most shops do it for free with an oil change. There's no excuse to skip this. And here's something else. Rotation isn't just about saving money, it's about safety. When your front tires are significantly more worn than your rears, you lose traction in wet or snowy conditions. The car becomes unpredictable. Rear-wheel drive cars are the opposite. They wear the rears faster. All-wheel drive vehicles wear all 4 more evenly, but they still need rotation because even small differences in tread depth can damage the transfer case or differentials. Those repairs run $2,000 to $3,000. And if you're running worn tires, that's not just a money issue, that's a safety issue. This is where small oversights turn into big consequences. Before we keep going, if you want to stop wasting money on repairs that could have been prevented, subscribe now. This channel is built to keep you ahead of the problems most drivers don't see coming.
Tip number 14. Check and top off all fluids monthly.
Most people only check fluids when a warning light comes on. By then, something's already failing. Your car has 6 fluids that need regular attention: oil, coolant, brake fluid, power steering fluid, transmission fluid, and windshield washer fluid. Each one plays a critical role, and each one drops over time. Low brake fluid, your stopping distance increases. Low coolant, your engine runs hotter than it should. Low power steering fluid, your pump wears out early, and you're looking at a $500 replacement. Once a month, pop the hood and check the levels. It takes 3 minutes. Top off whatever's low. And if you notice one fluid dropping fast, that's not normal. That's a leak, and it needs to be fixed now before it becomes a failure. I've seen people ignore slow coolant leaks for months. They just kept topping it off. Then one day the leak got worse. The engine overheated while they were on the highway, and the head gasket blew. That's a $1,500 to $2,500 repair that started as a $50 hose replacement. Or take brake fluid. It absorbs moisture from the air. Over time, that moisture lowers the boiling point and corrodes your brake components from the inside. If your brake fluid looks dark or contaminated, don't just top it off. Have it flushed. And don't mix different types of fluids. Use what the manufacturer specifies. Don't wait for a light to tell you what you should already know. And speaking of things people ignore until it's too late, let's talk about air filters. Tip number 13. Replace engine air filter every 15,000 miles. A clogged air filter doesn't sound serious until you realize it's choking your engine. Your engine needs clean air to burn fuel efficiently. When the filter is dirty, it restricts airflow. That means your engine has to work harder to pull in the air it needs. Fuel economy drops, acceleration feels sluggish, and over time, that extra strain wears out your engine faster. I've pulled air filters that were so packed with dirt, they looked like they'd been vacuum sealed. The owner had no idea. They just kept driving, wondering why their gas mileage kept getting worse. Replacing your air filter every 15,000 miles, or every year if you drive in dusty conditions, keeps your engine breathing properly. It's a $20 part that takes 2 minutes to swap. Don't skip it because your engine doesn't forgive neglect. It just charges you later. And if you think a dirty air filter is bad, wait until you see what happens when you ignore your cabin air filter. Tip number 12. Replace cabin air filter every year. Your cabin air filter is what keeps dust, pollen, and debris out of your HVAC system. When it clogs, 2 things happen. First, your airflow weakens. You crank the fan to max and barely feel anything coming out. Second, your blower motor has to work harder to push air through a blocked filter. That motor isn't designed to run under constant strain. It burns out. Now you're paying $300 to $500 for a blower motor replacement when you could have spent $15 on a filter. I see this all the time. People come in complaining their AC barely blows, and when I pull the cabin filter, it's black, packed with leaves and dirt. Some haven't been changed in 5 years. Replace it once a year. It's behind your glove box on most cars. You don't even need tools. Just pop it out, slide a new one in, and your HVAC system will thank you. Don't let a $15 part turn into a $400 repair. But this is only the beginning of what people ignore under the hood. Tip number 11. Inspect belts and hoses. Every oil change. Belts and hoses don't fail suddenly. They give you warning signs: cracks, bulges, fraying, soft spots. But most people never look at them until they snap. When a serpentine belt breaks, your alternator stops charging, your power steering quits, and your water pump stops circulating coolant. Your engine overheats in minutes. Now you're stranded on the side of the road, and the repair bill just went from $80 for a belt to $1,200 for an overheated engine. Hoses are the same. They crack from the inside out. You can't always see the damage until they burst, and when they do, you lose coolant. Your engine overheats, and you're facing a warped head or blown head gasket. Every time you get an oil change, ask the shop to inspect your belts and hoses. Or do it yourself. Look for cracks, splits, or soft spots. If you see anything questionable, replace it. Don't roll the dice on a $50 part that could strand you and cost thousands. But even good belts and hoses can't save you from the next issue. This is where most people start realizing that the small stuff isn't small. Every item we've covered so far costs under $100 to maintain. Ignore them, and you're looking at repairs that run into the thousands. What's coming next is even more expensive if you get it wrong. Tip number 10. Keep your gas tank above quarter full. Running your gas tank low doesn't just risk running out of fuel. It damages your fuel pump. Your fuel pump sits inside the tank, and it's cooled by the gas around it. When you constantly run below a quarter tank, the pump runs hotter because there's less fuel to keep it cool. Over time, that shortens its lifespan. A fuel pump replacement costs $500 to $800 depending on the car. And when it fails, your car won't start. You'll need a tow. Keep your tank above a quarter full, especially in winter. When it's cold, condensation forms inside the tank. If you're running on fumes, that water mixes with your fuel and can freeze in your fuel lines. Now you're dealing with frozen fuel lines and a car that won't start until it thaws. There's another problem with running low on gas. The bottom of your tank collects sediment over time, rust particles, dirt, and debris. When your fuel level drops too low, the pump starts pulling from the very bottom where all that junk settles. That sediment gets sucked into your fuel system. It clogs your fuel filter and damages your injectors. I've seen injectors fail because someone drove on a low tank for months. Injector replacement runs $400 to $800. Fill up when you hit a quarter tank. It's cheaper than a tow and a fuel pump replacement. And if you think that's the only way people wreck their fuel system, you're wrong. Tip number 9. Use top-tier gasoline. Not all gas is the same, even if it has the same octane rating. Top-tier gasoline contains detergents that clean your fuel injectors and intake valves as you drive. Cheap gas doesn't. Over time, cheap gas leaves deposits that clog your injectors and valves. Your engine starts misfiring. Fuel economy drops. Performance suffers. Eventually, you'll need a fuel system cleaning that costs $150 to $200, or worse, new injectors at $800 plus. Brands like Shell, Chevron, Costco, and Mobil sell top-tier gas. It costs a few cents more per gallon, but it pays for itself by keeping your fuel system clean. Don't cheap out at the off-brand station because you're saving 10 cents a gallon. That 10 cents will cost you hundreds later. Use top-tier gas every time you fill up, and your engine will run cleaner and last longer. But even the best gas can't protect you if you're ignoring your spark plugs. Tip number 8. Replace spark plugs on schedule. Spark plugs seem like a small part, but they're critical to how your engine runs. When they wear out, the gap widens, the spark weakens, and your engine starts misfiring. You'll feel rough idling, hesitation during acceleration, and your check engine light will come on. Ignore it long enough, and those misfires start damaging your catalytic converter. That's when a $100 spark plug job turns into a $1,200 catalytic converter replacement. Most modern plugs last 60,000 to 100,000 miles, but you need to check your manual. Some turbo engines need them every 30,000 miles. Don't wait for symptoms. Replace them on schedule. And when you do, use OEM or high-quality plugs like NGK or Denso. The cheap ones don't last and can cause misfires even when new. Spark plugs are one of the easiest and most important maintenance items you can do. Don't let them become the reason you're buying a new catalytic converter. And while we're talking about the exhaust system, there's something else most people overlook. Tip number 7. Monitor tire pressure weekly. Most people only check tire pressure when a tire looks low. That's too late. Underinflated tires wear faster on the edges. Overinflated tires wear faster in the center. Either way, you're shortening the life of a $600 tire set. But that's not the worst part. Low tire pressure hurts fuel economy. For every PSI drop, you lose about 0.2% in fuel efficiency. Run all 4 tires 5 PSI low, and you're burning an extra tank of gas every few months. Over a year, that's $200 wasted, and low pressure makes your tires run hotter, which increases the risk of a blowout. Tires generate heat from flexing as they roll. When pressure is low, the sidewalls flex more. That creates excess heat. On a hot summer day, on a long highway drive, that heat can cause a blowout. I've seen it happen. Check your tire pressure once a week. It takes 2 minutes. Keep a digital gauge in your glove box and check when the tires are cold. Don't rely on the dashboard sensor. It only alerts you when pressure drops 25%, which is way too late. By the time that light comes on, you've already been driving on low pressure for weeks. And here's something most people don't know. Temperature affects tire pressure. For every 10-degree drop in temperature, you lose about 1 psi. In winter, your tires can lose 5 to 10 psi just from the cold. Check them more often when the weather changes. Proper tire pressure improves handling, fuel economy, and tire life. There's no excuse to skip this, but even perfect tires won't save you if your alignment is off. Tip number 6. Get an alignment check annually. If your car pulls to one side, or your steering wheel is off-center when driving straight, your alignment is out. Most people ignore it because it still drives. That's a mistake. Bad alignment causes uneven tire wear. Your inside or outside edges wear down fast while the rest of the tire looks fine. Now you're replacing tires that should have lasted another year. An alignment costs $75 to $100. A new set of tires costs $600 to $800. You do the math. Even if you don't notice pulling, get your alignment checked once a year or after hitting a big pothole or curb. Alignment shifts over time, and small adjustments now prevent big tire expenses later. And proper alignment doesn't just save your tires, it improves handling and makes your car safer to drive. Don't wait for a symptom. Be proactive, because alignment is one of those things that sneaks up on you until the damage is done. Tip number 5. Flush brake fluid every 2 years. Brake fluid absorbs moisture over time. That's just how it works. And when moisture gets into your brake fluid, it lowers the boiling point. That means under hard braking, like going down a mountain or in an emergency stop, your brake fluid can boil. When it boils, you lose brake pressure. Your pedal goes soft. Your stopping distance increases. In a worst-case scenario, your brakes fail. I've seen it happen. But even if you never experience brake fade, moisture in your brake fluid corrodes your brake lines, calipers, and ABS pump from the inside. Those repairs run $800 to $1,500. Flushing your brake fluid every 2 years costs $80 to $100 and prevents all of that. It's cheap insurance. Don't skip it just because your brakes feel fine. By the time they don't feel fine, the damage is already done. Brakes are not something you gamble with. And while we're on the topic of things people ignore until it's too late, let's talk about your cooling system. Tip number 4. Replace coolant every 60,000 miles. Coolant doesn't last forever, even if it still looks pink or green. Over time, the additives that prevent corrosion break down. Your coolant turns acidic. An acidic coolant eats your radiator, water pump, heater core, and hoses from the inside out. You'll start seeing leaks. Your water pump will fail early. Your heater core will clog. And eventually, you're staring at a $1,200 cooling system overhaul when a $120 coolant flush would have prevented it all. Most manufacturers recommend changing coolant every 60,000 miles or 5 years, whichever comes first. Some extended life coolants claim to last longer, but I don't trust them past 100,000 miles. When you replace coolant, make sure the system is fully flushed. Don't just drain and fill. You want the old, contaminated coolant completely out, and always use the correct coolant for your car. Mixing coolant types causes problems. Stick with what your manufacturer specifies. Your cooling system is what keeps your engine from destroying itself. Don't cheap out. But there's one more fluid people ignore that causes even bigger problems. Tip number 3, change transmission fluid every 60,000 miles. Here's the biggest lie in the car industry: lifetime transmission fluid. There's no such thing. Transmission fluid breaks down. It gets contaminated with metal shavings and friction material, and when it's old and dirty, it stops protecting your transmission. Shifts get rough. Slipping starts, and once slipping begins, your transmission is already damaged. A transmission rebuild or replacement costs $3,000 to $5,000. A fluid change costs $150 to $200. Change your transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, not 100,000. If you drive a hybrid, you can stretch it to 90,000, but no more. And never do a full flush if the fluid has never been changed. That can dislodge debris and clog the valve body. Just do a drain and fill. It's safer and still gets most of the old fluid out. Use OEM fluid or the exact specification your transmission requires. Mixing in universal fluid is a gamble that usually doesn't pay off. Your transmission is the second most expensive component in your car. Treat it like it. But even the best transmission maintenance won't save you if you're ignoring one critical habit. Tip number 2, warm up your engine properly. Most people think warming up your car means letting it idle for 10 minutes. That's wrong. Modern engines don't need a long warm-up, but they do need you to drive gently for the first few minutes. When you start a cold engine, the oil is thick and takes time to circulate. The metal components haven't expanded to their proper clearances. If you jump on the gas immediately, you're forcing those parts to work hard before they're ready. That causes extra wear. Over years, it shortens engine life. The correct way to warm up is simple. Start the car, wait 30 seconds for the oil pressure to stabilize, then drive gently. Keep RPMs below 3,000 until the temperature gauge is in the normal range. No hard acceleration, no high-speed merging. Just easy, smooth driving until everything comes up to temperature. This applies to your transmission too. Cold transmission fluid doesn't flow properly, and hard shifts, when cold, damage the clutch packs. Let your car wake up before you ask it to perform. It's a small habit that adds years to your engine and transmission, but there's one habit that matters more than all of these combined. Tip number 1, change your oil every 5,000 miles. This is the number 1 habit that determines how long your engine lasts. Oil is the lifeblood of your engine. It lubricates moving parts, removes heat, and suspends contaminants. When oil breaks down or gets dirty, it stops doing its job. Metal on metal wear begins. Sludge forms. Components fail. I don't care what your owner's manual says. I don't care if it says 10,000 miles or once a year. Change your oil every 5,000 miles, especially if you drive short trips, sit in traffic, or live in extreme heat or cold. Those are all severe service conditions, and they destroy oil faster than highway driving. The manufacturers push extended intervals to make their cars look low maintenance on paper. They don't care if your engine lasts 150,000 miles or 300,000 miles. They've already made the sale. You're the one who pays when the timing chain stretches, the VVT system fails, or the cam phasers rattle. Use high-quality synthetic oil and a good filter. OEM filters are your best bet. Don't cheap out with the $2 filters at the discount store. And always check your oil level between changes. If it's low, top it off. Don't wait. Oil is cheap. Engines are not. This one habit alone will do more to extend your engine's life than anything else on this list. If you only remember one thing from this video, make it this. Most expensive repairs start with something preventable. These 17 habits cost almost nothing and save thousands. Start using them now, and your car will last longer than you thought possible. Don't wait for a breakdown to start maintaining properly.